Hey everybody, Big D here, and we're back. I had to take some time off. Just a bunch of real life things going on. I'm a writer, my wife's a writer. We've been busy working on a couple of major writing projects. Hopefully I'll have news on that soon. But that being said, I'm back, and I've been doing a lot of my filming. I've been working on things and filming them. I just haven't had time to get in the editing studio and edit them down to give you something presentable. So Big Zombie City board is coming. It's actually pretty much done. I'm going to be finishing that up, finish that video up and get it up. But in the meantime, I've done a couple of little projects. I've been trying to stay active with the Tabletop Crafters Guild and the little monthly contests they do. I was way too busy to do anything in April, so I didn't get to get in the egg crate one. But I did do something for the plastic lids. Now, for those of you that don't know who the Tabletop Crafters Guild, you're on YouTube. DM Scotty, Wylot, the DMG Info, Black Magic Craft. I love Black Magic Craft. I hate to say it, he is my favorite of the four of them because he thinks a lot of the ways I do, but I love all their techniques, and I try to use pieces of their techniques from each of them when I build my projects. They're wonderful inspirations. So they've decided to try and help inspire crafters out there by taking a monthly challenge. I did the main challenge, which was the plastic lid. I didn't make top 5. That's okay. You gotta remember, when you make your stuff, you're making it for you and you're making it for your players. And not everyone's gonna be like, oh my god, this is the best piece of thing ever. Not everyone's like that. So that's okay. You made it, you're happy with it, you're happy for yourself, your players are happy with it, that's what's important. So I still want to show you guys how I made it because I'm actually really proud of it. I thought it was really cool, and I think it'll give some ideas for other people. So what you're going to see here is my Celestial Orrery. If you don't know what an orrery is, before we had laser projectors and computers and all that stuff, they used to track planets and their movement, and they had these little mechanical things. They had gears and planets that would circle and spike around, and they could kind of track how planets moved. There's a couple of role-playing games that use them as something in the case of wizards. I built what would be a giant orrery, and I call it the Celestial Orrery. I'm going to show you guys how I made it. It's, to me, a pretty impressive piece. It's something you could put in the middle of a battlefield as like an objective. You could use it in your role-playing game as some lost ancient artifact that the player's trying to get to, that some evil wizard's trying to get to, because he can use it to manipulate the future or whatnot. A lot of different uses for it. I just think it's a beautiful piece of terrain, and I want to stick it on my table and have my players go, oh. In the D&D game I'm running, orreries are a big deal because you can use them to tell fate, tell the future, know when events are going to happen. So I have a really big magical one coming up, and so that was the inspiration for making this orrery. So enough of me babbling. Let's get to the table and see what we're making today. Okay, so for this project, I started something different. I'm going with the Crafters Guild. They wanted plastic lids. So I went on a Wylots and I looked a little deeper, and he said caps, plastic that's sealed, then would work. So I have a couple of these orange juice container lids. These are plastic and they just screw on and they seal the lid. Obviously, for frozen orange juice, Gatorade, soda, and a water bottle. So I just decided to get a bunch of these together, and this is what I'm going to make my project out of. And the camera's a little jumpy, it's a little hard to see now, but I just want to see what the raw materials we're working with here. Just a bunch of plastic caps. So the first thing I need to do is I need to put holes in the center of each of the caps. Now luckily, if you look at most plastic caps, right in the center there, there's a little dot, and that's where the mold starts from often, but then that's the exact center of the cap. So I need to drill these holes out. Now there's a couple ways you could do it, and I'm not going to tell you a method to use. I'm going to tell you what's best for you. You could just use a standard drill, go really slow. You could use a soldering iron and melt the hole through. You could take a screw and a screwdriver and just slowly drill it out that way. Same thing with a nail. You could just take a nail and tap it through until make your hole. Because these are kind of rough, I'm going to start the hole on this side because I don't care what goes on the inside, because the inside's not going to be seen when they're done. And you'll see what I mean when I get there. So I'm going to take all my caps, because for this project I need all of them to have that little hole in the middle big enough for me to thread something through. So I'm going to take all my caps, I'm going to put this hole in them, and then we'll come back. Okay, so we've got these two pieces, and we've got our holes drilled through them, and just so we know size, we're doing it about the size of a bamboo skewer. So let's make sure we can get a bamboo skewer through those holes. Good. So that's what we wanted. Now we're going to take, in my case, you can do whatever size sticks you want. I'm doing a couple different for this piece. So we're taking one of these, which is just a bamboo stirrer, and then I'm taking 3 of these, which are tongue depressors, the large size, and I'm cutting 2 of them off. So one of them cutting a piece this big off, and another one I'm cutting just a little bit of it off. And then lastly, I'm using a regular good old-fashioned craft stick. And then I'm going to take them and I'm going to drill a hole in the bottom of them, just like I did with them, same size. So it's going to be, they need to be the same size so that a skewer can go right through them. So, and we test our hole, and perfect. So I got that one, and then we have another one that we cut off a piece from, and then squared off the corners a little bit, and again got the hole through. And this is the one we just cut a little bit off of. And then we have our popsicle stick. And then lastly, we have our bamboo skewer. Now you notice I lost a little bit of wood there because this is really fragile. It's okay. It'll still do what we needed to do. We're going to be using it. This isn't a load bearing, and these aren't going to be mobile. So we just need to be able to fit in there and give it some support. And you'll see once we start assembling. So we've got that. And then now we have to get the embellishment pieces that are all going in this stack up that we're making. So let's get those, and we'll be right back. Now, with the popularity of steampunk, because I want my embellishments and gears, these aren't luckily too hard to get your hands on. First off, in paper crafting, wherever people do scrapbooking and whatnot, there's a group of things called ideology. And they make this, and it's like $2-3, maybe $5 at most. I got them on sale at Joann's, but they have them at Michael's. And you know, a whole box of a lot of different size gears. They're really nice. They're metal, and they work for a bunch of different projects. And you get, you know, like a dozen of them in there. So totally worth it. The other option you have is you got that. The other option is that Mod Podge makes a set of molds meant for being filled with hot glue. So the problem is that if you overfill them and just let them think, you get a nice looking gear, but they're going to have like a goopy on the back, and it gets a little hard. So if you want to get really flat, what I have found is that I take my hot glue and I fill the mold I want. With the hot glue.
And then I take a piece of heavy-duty clear plastic and put it down on top of the mold. And then take something else flat and push down. And then you let it sit and cool. And when it cools, you end up with something. You might get a little bit of flashing on the back, but it's a lot less, and you can clean that up with an X-Acto. The problem is it is still hot glue, so it's a little hard to clean up with sharp objects. But I've also found a little bit of heat, an old soldering iron you can touch through, and if you need to make those holes go through. But if I'm just putting these on the surface, they'll be fine. So I'm going to make myself a quick set of gears for this, and then use some of those ideology ones, and we'll start putting together the main construction tower. Okay, so we have our pieces. So now we're going to start assembling. So I've glued a piece of foam block, just scrap piece in the bottom here. So we got that there. And then we're just going to put a spot of glue there. Put that in. Now, using that little bit of glue that's there, we're going to take the next piece, slide it on down, and we've got one of our glue-based gears there. Then we're going to take another spot of glue, just touch on a little bit of glue. And again, this is one of the caps. We just put a piece of foam in there for some stability and strength. And now we're going to slide down each one of our arms, then another gear, and then the final cap. Actually, the cap and then the gear. The gear is going to go on top. So, and then we're going to put our orange cap on top this way. So let me assemble it and I'll show what we got. Alrighty, folks. So here we have the orrery assembled. Got a good idea of what we're looking at here. Some glue in there to hold that down. It's all cooling off. And we have our different arms to show the rotations of the different celestial bodies that this orrery will be tracking. So we are at the halfway point. Now we got to put together a base, and we got to put together our little planets. They're going to go on each of the different arms. So we'll come back. Again, we're just using some caps, and we're going to use a little bit of foam to fill them in and make little orrery, miniature orrery assemblies for each one of the little arms. Okay, so we're going to start making the spindles that go on the end of each of the arms of the orrery. So, and these are also being made from caps. So, this is the first cap. Just a regular cap, nothing to it. Then you put it on a piece of foam, drag it around a couple times so you get a nice circle, and you'll cut a piece of foam to fit inside. So it goes inside of the cap. You might have to shave off the top if it's too long, but you just put a little glue in there and put that cap, put it inside the cap to give you a nice solid base. Then you take one of your gears, try to find one that's going to look good on the bottom there, close to that size, and you glue it on the bottom. Then you're going to put a stick in the middle of there, stake, just so you kind of know where you're going to be building your planets and whatnot on there. So it doesn't matter the length for right now. You're going to cut them the length as needed. So you've got that. So you want to end up with 5 like this. Gear on the bottom, cap, fill of foam, and a stick. So if you made 5 arms like I did on my orrery, you're going to need 1 for each arm. Now, admittedly, I make my arms different sizes because I'm using different size caps. So, go ahead and assemble that. Alright, so we finished the mini orreries. Like I said, you just took the stick, we took an orb. I used a little bit of milliput to kind of cover the tops of the balls to make them more rounded on the bigger ones. I'm going to try it with the glue here just to see how it looks. Yeah, it's okay if it looks a little rough because, I mean, this is going to be like an ancient weathered piece. So, but then you just take a sprig of wire, you coil the end of it, and then you bend it at an angle and put another bead on the end there. And once this is all painted, this will look amazing. So I did one with the smaller cap, and I did one with a little bitty cap that's just a planet with no moon. And then I've got this, I've got 2 moons. I've got this one that's going to have 3 moons. And then I've got this one that's got the ring here to make it look like Saturn. And I'm now just going to attach it with hot glue to the arms of the orrery. And then we're going to take some black Mod Podge, cover the foam, and then we're going to prime the whole thing and start getting it ready for paint. So, here we go. Okay, so this is now painted and based. At least we got the base copper on. We started doing some texturing on the bottom. We did a basic glue roughing up and then used some grit, 2 types of grit, and I've got a basic brown and some olive green put in there. So we've got the base started. This is really turning out nice and shiny. I've got some decisions to make now. I know I have to weather it. I want to put some moss growing up the side of it. There's still a decision to be made about whether or not I'm going to leave the balls, the globes, if I'm going to leave them copper and just put a patina on a bunch of stuff, or if I'm going to actually paint them to look like globes and then weather them. It's still a decision I got time to make, and I might do a couple test globes on a couple pieces and see what they look like and see which I prefer. So the light source is ready, but I'm not going to unveil it yet. The globe that's going to go on top is really beautiful. So we're going to continue on. Next steps is going to be putting some more basing material on here, put some greenery, and doing the patina. I may hold off on putting the greenery on the ground until I have the patina done, and then do the greenery. We'll come back and see what strikes my fancy as I start applying that patina, what I need to stop and do or move to next. As this is kind of more of a free-form project, this is a little bit more go as it feels. So it's something as a crafter you gotta not be afraid to do. When you're working on something, I'm not sure how I like this, and not be afraid to change or look at a project differently while you're working at it. You're not locked into doing things in a single way. Just remember that. This is stuff you make yourself, so make it the way you want it. Okay, so we've got everything based. We've got the base all detailed. We're just waiting for the glue to set on the over coat. And that bad boy's done there. So the last touch I'm looking at, other than the globe that's going to go on top here, and I've already got that, the last touch is painting the planetary globes. I've been debating this for a week, and I finally made a decision. I'm going to paint them. So what we're going to do is we're going to give them a coat of either a white or a gray flat primer, and then we're just going to paint them however I see fit. I'm thinking I'm going to make this one here look Earth-like with a moon. Obviously this one with the ring, I'm going to kind of make it look Saturn-like. This one's going to be kind of reds and oranges. I'm thinking this one's going to be blues and greens. And this one I'm going to kind of make white and, I don't know, but make it pocky or something. So we're going to paint them up individually. Again, this is a two-taste thing. And since I'm running out of time on this project for the due date of the contest, I got to get cracking on these paint jobs now. So we're not going to sit here and tape the paint jobs. I'm just going to tell you we're going to paint them, and I'm going to show you what they look like. This is all a matter of taste and desire. I could just consider it done right now, and I wouldn't feel bad. So we're going to paint them and see how it looks and see if I'm okay with that. And if the first one looks crappy, well, then we're just going to repaint over it with the copper, and we'll be done. So here we go. All right, ladies and gentlemen, this is it. The globes are painted. The orb, the secret globe piece de resistance in the center. It's an outdoor light that I popped the bulb off of and stuck a regular candle flickering light underneath in. And this is it. It's absolutely everything I hoped it would be. And for scale, you've got your standard hero miniature right there. So 8-inch square base, about a foot at its widest point. Little globes, gloss paint, plastic caps, foam, popsicle sticks. Bunch of junk, bunch of extra stuff, bunch of spare parts. And this is what we can do. So I'm going to take a couple glamour shots of this thing and send it off to the Crafters Guild monthly contest, and we're going to see how we do. Thanks so much, and thanks for being along for this build. Game on!